One early morning in Canterlot, Luna and Celestia were having breakfast together. Celestia told her sister that they were going to have some diplomats over for a visit from Saudi Arabia. And of course, Luna was looking forward to see their friends again. And even though then Luna seemed to be happy, she had been very happy for the past few weeks actually. And it turns out that she had been dating this particular stallion who was from Baltimore. And they had been meeting the first time when he came to Canterlot. He was there to visit some old friends, and he ran into Luna by random accident on the street. He apologized, but it was like when they saw into each other's eyes, it was like they saw the true meaning. It was like the first love in first sight. From that moment, they started to see each other for the first few days. And even though that he lived in Baltimore and he had some friends in Canterlot and he worked as a carpenter, so that gave him sometimes opportunity to stay in Canterlot. And during his stay though, they actually started seeing each other. After the third day they had been meeting, they just talked to get to know each other better. He asked her out on a date, which she just said yes to. And everything seems to be going so normal for them. And in fact, this was actually Luna's very first relationship ever. She was very nervous how to handle things, what to do, and what to say, not to do. She was very curious, but at the same time very nervous that if she would do something wrong or do something bad that would embarrass her and perhaps even that her boyfriend never wanted to see her anymore. So she had to ask her sister for any advice. She had even had asked Cadence and even Twilight for advice. But of course, they give her all kinds of different advices. But they all give one advice that was much similar. Be yourself, they told her. So Luna, even when they first went out on their date to a restaurant nearby, she was very quite nervous at first, and even though they had been meeting for the first few days, just been talking, then they get to know each other. But even through the first date, both of them were quite silent. Feels like they didn't have anything to talk about. But after a while, they started getting to know each other even more, and on the second date, when they also went to a restaurant to have some romantic dinner, they talked about almost anything. They had a very great time. Both laughed about some jokes there, and even her boyfriend even listened to some of her old memories of her old past. When she fought against Discord the first time, when she and when Celestia when she and Celestia became the ruler of the Questia. And even her older sister, who was at first quite unaware about her boyfriend. But it wasn't until the third date when she revealed to her sister that she had a boyfriend. And her sister, of course, was very happy for her. But that was the only thing. But Celeste did mention that she had a feeling about this. Ever since Leon had asked her and the others about some advice what to do on a date. But Luna just then had said that she was just curious if she would meet some pony to be with. She would like to have some advice what to do, some sort of prepared information. But Luna and her boyfriend was really happy to be together. Everything was really going well between them. But unfortunately though, since they were not able to see each other for about a week, since he was back in Baltimore doing his work and that Luna will be busy for this week doing these diplomats from Saudi Arabia. The diplomats were really happy to hear that about Luna. But there was something else on Luna's mind. Since after the week had passed, she started waiting to hope that her boyfriend would arrive to Canton soon. But suddenly, all the visits from him prior to this diplomat's visit, he came to Canterlot almost every week or almost every weekend. But now, suddenly, he didn't show up for a whole week. He didn't even send any letters or postcards, nothing. It was like he vanished. But she did actually thought maybe that he's just too busy with his work, since carpenters are sometimes very busy with their work, so she didn't pay much attention. But everything was going to be normal for her. She had even had showed introduced her boyfriend to her sister and her friends, so they knew how it looked like. But one day, everything in Luna's life would shatter and fall apart big time. It turned out when Fluttershy and Rarity were to Baltimore for some visit to some old friend who lived there, they actually saw Luna's boyfriend at some cafe with a mare and a stallion. They overheard that they were just friends of his, apparently. But then they mentioned that, what about this mare you've been seeing? So they thought maybe it was it about Luna. Yes, well, this mare, well, she is an old friend of mine. We used to live together back outside of middle Baltimore, but we grew apart from our friendship. But we reached out to each other for about a year ago, and we have been stopped seeing each other as most as a friends, of course. We just to catch up with the time we've been lost. We haven't seen each other for some while, so we decided to see each other more and just, you know, spend more time and just to, I mean, we would just wanted to catch up on what happened in our lives for this time. But isn't that true you have feelings towards her? Yes, it's true. But listen, I thought you were dating Luna, and now you're dating this mare too? Um, I wouldn't actually call it as a dating. We already even had even been on a date this. So I would say we're just friends. But she clearly loves you more than as a friend, his friend said. Yeah, apparently it is so. So what is the problem? His friend asked. I don't know. I mean, I have been with Luna, and she's amazing. She's the most gorgeous mare to be with. And now my friend appears, and she had feelings towards me. But I like her as a friend. I don't know what to do. Just tell your friend that you don't like her the same way. I will try to do that. So for next day, when Luna had was wondering about her boyfriend, she still hasn't even heard much about from him. But when Fluttershy and Rarity saw that he was with his mare, that this supposed friend of his, but it turns out he had realized he did actually had feelings towards her and decided to leave Luna and to be with his friend. But he had no idea how she would take it and how to tell her. So instead of seeing her directly, he decided to write a letter and send it to her. But the next day, when Luna got it, she was really happy. She was so excited to get the letter from her boyfriend. The first letter sentence was just normal, that he wished that they could see each other, but then it started to change. That it said that he had decided maybe it wasn't that they were meant to be together, and that he had fallen in love with somebody else, and he wishes her the best of luck. And of course, she didn't take it so well. As Celestia was just walking by her room, she heard this loudest scream of heartbreaking from Luna's room. She was just stunned, a little bit scared, but she was just. And she opened the door and finds Luna on the bed crying. She asked her what was wrong, but Luna didn't say a word, just cried and cried. But then she tried to talk to her again, but Luna didn't answer. She didn't even recognize that she didn't even pay attention that her sister was in the room. But she saw the letter. She took it and read it. From her face, from 1 second from curious to horrified, she was very unbelievable angry. She was furious. Luna had been looking forward to see her boyfriend, and now we do this to her. She was clearly in love with him, and he was the same. But now all of this happened. But there was nothing that she couldn't do about it. She couldn't just go punish him because he broke her sister's heart. Because that is part of the relationships. So, Celestia decided to let Luna to be alone. Even she wanted to be there to comfort her sister, but she really knows the best thing to do is to let her to be alone for a while. But she made sure that this news didn't spread at all. But she did inform Twilight and her friends, but they also promised to keep this a secret. But they were equally surprised. But when they suddenly finds out that Fluttershy and Rarity already knew about this, they asked them, why did they come out with this information to Luna before she got the letter? Rarity said that was not the ladylike to do, to telling someone behind someone's back like that, or spreading rumors, because they didn't want to know if this was really true. But Fluttershy, she was really much heartbroken herself. She wanted to tell, but she didn't know how to or who to tell. But now it was really too late. But the next evening, when Celestia went to see her friend, her sister, the room was empty. It turns out Luna had left the castle during the day. But where to? Nobody knew. Not even her own guards. Not the other, or rather the royal guards even knew. It turned out that she had teleported from her own room to somewhere else in Equestria. Of course, Luna had been started missing, and Celestia normally she would have sent out searching patrols to find her sister. But when the guards had to find out about this, they would immediately have sent out patrols to find her, their princess. But Celestia said no, and it turns out they all just questioned why. She said the reason why, and that she probably wanted to be alone for a while. That's the only thing can do. She will return when she feels ready. But there were even then soon rumors in town saying Luna has abandoned her post as a princess. Because of this heartbreak, she decided to abandon her royal duties and let and never returned. Celestia heard about these rumors, and she told the police in town at Rest Equestria never to start this kind of rumors. But where were Luna? Many of her friends had wondered, where is she? Where did she go? Many had asked themselves that, and many started even looking for her in privately. They had even started asking other points at other towns, like friends, relatives, if they had seen or heard anything about where Luna could have been. But no pony even knew, except for Discord. It turned out Discord was flowing around the sky when he was just alone. He actually saw Luna nearby a small lake, several hundred miles away from Canada. So, what did he do? Nothing. He just stayed in the air and decided to let her be. Normally, though, he would just go down there, maybe try to cheer her up with some Hermes magic or something. But he knew how this like to be, getting his heart broken. So he decided to leave her alone. But around the same time, Luna was just walking around in the particular area when she started feeling hungry. She didn't pack any food with her at all. So she started to get hungry and more hungry for almost every second. But soon she smelled the scent of some food, some fresh baked bread in the distance. So she followed the scent and followed to a small cabin in the forest when she was nearby. It turns out that someone that lived there. She knocked on a door and a mare opened. She introduced herself as Caramel Glow. She was really surprised to see the Princess of the Night at her front door. She had actually heard about the rumors, or at least the talk about Luna had been missing or just disappeared. But there she was, by her own home. She asked her if she could come inside, and she said yes. Luna was offered some food because since Caramel Glow could hear that Luna's stomach was growling of hunger. Luna thanked her new friend, and even though that Luna was quiet even then, Caramel had then asked her what happened. Why was she in this particular neighborhood and in this particular area? Luna just said that she wanted to be alone. And then she was getting hungry and she didn't pack any food with her. And Luna thanked later Caramel Glow for the food and was about to leave. But Caramel Glow stopped her. She said, "It is very light. It is maybe the best if you to stay here for the night." Of course, Luna wouldn't take no for an answer. At least Caramel Glow would. So Luna accepted it. Since there was only one bedroom, she had offered her that to Luna. But where would you sleep? I will sleep in the living room, on the floor. But would that be uncomfortable? Don't worry, I'm used to it. So, but the next morning, Luna woke up of the smells of pancakes. She walks out and finds that Caramel Glow was already awake and making breakfast. For the first time, Luna felt somehow happy, even what just recently happened to her. But she couldn't explain it. But Caramel Glow and Luna start talking. And soon they both started laughing about almost anything, like some very very bad jokes or some funny stories they had told each other. And for some reason, Luna felt very happy to be there. Around lunchtime, just after lunch, Luna decided to go back to Cantlot, and she thanked Caramel Glow for the staying and for the food. Caramel Glow just said that she was really happy that to provide some food and some things for her own princess. But then Luna said, if you were able to visit Cantlot, feel free to visit the castle. You don't have to worry about to be stopped by the door. They gave each other a hug, and then Luna went back to Cantlot. Her sister was really surprised to see her again, but she was also happy that she was safe. She asked her where she had been, and Luna told her everything. And for the next couple of days afterwards, everything was back to normal, even though Luna were staying in her own room for most time. Celestia were getting a bit worried about her sister. She tried to talk to her a little more, comfort her. Maybe he has just had some tea party with her, or has just some tea to comfort her. But over time, Luna thought maybe it was best for her to just be herself. But just even then, only about a month later, when Luna was out in town just for a walk, she ran into somebody. And who was that she ran into? It was her ex-boyfriend with his new girlfriend. And to her, it felt both anger and embarrassment. But for her ex-boyfriend, it was more embarrassment to run into his old ex-girlfriend, especially one of the rulers of Equestria. But his new girlfriend, she was just happy to be able to see the princess by herself. She knew about him and Luna, but to her, she wasn't even embarrassed of meeting the princess. She was just happy to be able to see one of the rulers. They didn't speak much. They only said, "Hi, how are you?" And then when they supposed that "I'm fine," they just left. Luna didn't turn around to see her ex-boyfriend, but he did. Somehow deep in his heart, he wished that he could have ended this more differently, or perhaps maybe give their relationship a second chance. But now it was too late. Even he knew already then, if he would try to ask her, she probably would have said no immediately. So he didn't ask her, and that was the final time when Luna ever saw him. But over time, things started to get better for Luna. She started getting around with her friends and starting having a good time together. And just having a very much good time. Even for most of all, Luna. She started wondering if she ever would find her true love. But one night, when she was in a dream world, just having her own dreams, she was standing on the beach on a lake when suddenly she felt someone close to her. She turned around and saw Caramel Glow standing right beside her and just laying against her and watching the sunset. And that she could see she was having a necklace with a ring that was actually a wedding ring. And in her dream, she realized Luna and Caramel Glow were married. And to next to her right side, there was a fool sitting on the ground, smiling and watching the sunset. And she realized that fool was their kid. And then she woke up just suddenly. It was like this was some unusual dream. It was like showing a possible future. But how could that happen? She had only seen even meet Caramel Glow once, and now she started having feelings towards her? How's it possible? She asked herself. She even asked her own sister the next day, just to ask if it is possible that she can fall in love with somebody else, just even met the one for one time. Celeste said it is possible. After considering that she fell in love with her ex-boyfriend just by seeing him for the first time. And then Luna realized it. She had actually fallen in love with this mayor. But she wonders, could Caramel Glow had the same feeling towards her? And in fact, only the next day, Caramel Glow actually showed up in Canterlot. She wanted to see her friend, and they actually spent the most of the time in the castle garden. But for Luna, she was very happy, but at the same time, really, really nervous. She was like shaking when she was sitting next to her. They talked about things that just happened for a past time. But when Luna mentioned about her dream, Caramel Glow just looked at her and said, "You had the same dream too?" It turned out Caramel Glow had exactly the same dream as Luna. But how is that possible, she wonders. No one wonders how ponies can have almost the same dreams as her. It was like the dreams worlds was connected. It was like their if they were their hearts was somehow connected as one. And after that moment, they both realized how much they actually meant for each other. So they wondered where they meant to be. Luna had offered Caramel Glow to stay on the castle for the next couple of days, and she did. But the next day, Luna talked to her sister before meeting Caramel Glow about this dream and about these potential feelings. She asked her sister what she should do. Just leave this as this is supposed to be, like enter this relationship with her, or just ignoring feelings and dream at an old cost. She was told by her sister, only your heart can decide. Listen to your heart, what it will say to you. And she did. It was like the heart herself was telling her to give it a try. Give it a try. It was like repeating over and over. So she did. Luna and Caramel Glow actually decided to maybe try with for one date to see if there was any spark between them. And that call was the right one to do. Because in fact there were this spark between them. Luna and Caramel Glow started to dating. And even one of the dates they actually went to this spa, and they were standing in this hot spring to just relax and just even in during the full moon they just looked at each other deeply in each other's eyes without saying a word. It's like the whole world was standing still. It's like everything just stopped and they were only ones there in the whole wide world. In Luna's heart she realized Caramel Glow was the one that she has been waiting for. Even though she thought her ex-boyfriend was the one for her. But it was like only part that honestly it was almost like a part of the plan in the life mysteriously. Luna, She said, "I love you, and I love you too," said Luna. Everything was going well between them, even though they took it all did their relationship slowly. But after a while, Caramel Glow actually moved from her small cabin into Canterlot. But she didn't like Canterlot life that much. But though Luna told her she maybe be able to live in Pulmaville, which is a smaller town, very much similar life to what she had before. So Glow tried it, and she actually enjoyed living in Pulmaville. And they continued to date for about the next 4 years. And on their 4th year anniversary, Caramel Glow proposed to Luna, and she said yes immediately. Even though first Luna was very skeptical that even if that Caramel Glow would ever propose to her. But when she did, she was really happy and proud that she did. And when her sister was told, she was really overjoyed. Their friends was equally overjoyed. Soon, the entire New Kingdom overheard about this big news. And within a few weeks, Luna and Caramel Glow got married. They even went to a tropical island for honeymoon for about a week. It was a very great time from them there. They really enjoyed it. Just watching, doing some sightseeing, swimming in the ocean, just having a great time. And then 3 years later, Luna and Caramel Glow wanted to have their own family, so they had asked Twilight for help. And Luna decided she wanted to be mother, so she became one. And a few months later, they had a baby girl. And 5 years later, Caramel Glow would also want to be a mother, so she became one. And a few months later, she had a baby boy and a baby girl, twins. Both Luna and Caramel Glow could not have been more happier to be with one they loved the most, but even especially to have a big family. And that's how Luna and Caramel Glow found a true love and got a big family. The end.